Astrology of Innovation, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus in 2024, and its impact on tech. If you want to know what technological breakthroughs and game changers are coming up this year, what the crypto market is going to do and when, and how you can use astrology to have strategic foresight on technological trends, innovations, and disruptions, then this video is for you. All right, let's get into it. This year, 2024, we have a few very significant astrological constellations coming up that we need to know and understand if we want to know the zeitgeist of this year. Again, you need to know that astrological constellations, they are not causative of events that occur, but they are like a clock, like a metaphysical or symbolic clock that tells you the quality of the times through which universal consciousness experiences itself in the terrestrial context in which we are and from which we experience things. So the important constellation that's coming up in the first part of the year, it's a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. And this is going to be especially important for tech, which is why this is also a video that's going to give you a lot of predictions and prognoses on technological innovations and breakthroughs that are coming up. But bear with me, before I get into that, I want to give you some general background on what the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction means. I'm not going to get too technical or make it too much for specialists, astrology specialists. I want to keep this for a general audience, but you should know the universal principles that are associated with the planets and their archetypes. So let's get into it. When we look at the constellation Jupiter-Uranus, we have basically the coming together of Jupiter, which is the principle of expansion and generosity. It's the great benefic, as the traditional astrologers called it. They basically always saw it as the most positive thing that can happen. Wherever Jupiter comes, the king, it's the kingmaker. It's the force that brings expansion and that brings exuberance to everything. But obviously, too much of a good thing is also not good. When there is excess of that expansion, it can become exaggeration or hubris or arrogance. And with Uranus, we have the principle of revolution. So it's actually really interesting that Uranus, the principle of revolution and innovation and breakthroughs, also sudden breakthroughs, that it was discovered around the time of the French Revolution. So towards the end of the 18th century. And that's also the time when consciousness, universal consciousness, human consciousness, really discovered the principle of revolution in its own self-experience and its collective experience. And this is not just random. There is a serendipitous and synchronistic quality to how we discover these celestial objects and to the naming process. I'm going to do another video in future on this. It's very interesting and important to understand. This is one of the reasons why people who come from a very scientific materialist background, they don't understand why astrology works. But again, this goes into philosophy and metaphysics, and we'll do that another time. I just want you to understand the principles that are associated with Jupiter-Uranus. So it's about expansion and it's about sudden changes and revolution. And when these two come together, and by the way, this is from what you're seeing here on your screen, it's from Archetypal Explorer, which is a great website that people have put together around the work, from Richard Tarnas, a great pioneer professor, teaches at the California Institute for Integral Studies. Go check it out. So Jupiter and Uranus, when they come together, we're going to have massive breakthroughs of technology and of ideas, of movements that expand in their inventiveness and innovativeness. And specifically, this is happening, this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, it is happening in the sign of Taurus in 2024. And Taurus is about material abundance and material groundedness and sensuousness. It's the part in the cycle of life, you know, the zodiac, it's basically all the steps in the cycle of life, which stands for the making things graspable and material, making them concrete, right, so that you can have them and touch them, right? So Taurus gives it the general quality. So all of these breakthroughs, they're going to be in the realm of the things that we can touch and that we can grasp and that we can materially experience. So we're going to have breakthroughs of inventiveness and innovation in the material realm. So obviously when you put these terms together, you understand that Jupiter-Uranus stands for technological innovation and economic innovation, business innovation. So it's not going to come as a surprise that we see that the people who are born with Jupiter-Uranus, they are some of the greatest inventors and business minds and business innovators that you can think of. For instance, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, he was born under the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. You can see here, exact Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, right? And actually, when you look at his life, people have done some interesting work on this. When you look at his life, all the important breakthroughs, technological innovations and breakthroughs, they came at particular activations of Jupiter in his chart. So Jupiter on his MC, Jupiter as an IC, Jupiter activating the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and so on, right? So, and when did he found Apple? Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs together, when did they create Apple in their garage? Under an exact Jupiter-Uranus opposition. Everything that they did, everything that Apple did during that time, it's correlated with the Jupiter-Uranus cycle, right? There's a lot of interesting things happening in Steve Jobs' chart, but I'm not gonna go into that now. Another person who is under Jupiter-Uranus, actually under the Jupiter-Uranus sextile, born under the sextile, is Sam Altman. So Sam Altman, somebody born under the Jupiter-Uranus sextile, the trine, the sextile, the square, those are all important major aspects. So for him, it's something much more flowing and easy, the innovation. But at the same time, this guy got a really interesting chart as well. It's worth to do a deep dive into his chart. And something interesting is happening here. The Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that is happening in April, May of this year. So that's when it's going to be exact. It's kind of building up the whole year, but April 8 this year, 2024, it's going to be exact. It's going to take place exactly on Sam Altman's Moon Mars here that you can see here, right? So he's got Moon Mars towards the end of the third decade of Taurus, and that's where the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is going to be. So I can already give you a very easy prediction here. Sam Altman around April, May, and going into June, he's going to make some really big moves. Some really, really, really big moves, right? Jupiter on Mars, it means kind of the expansiveness of his actions and of his decisions. And Jupiter on Moon, it means the kind of broad public support and broad public effect, very large public effect with what he does. Add Uranus to that, and it's going to be extremely unexpected and historically so. So he's going to make around, just before summer, around May, around that time, give or take a month before and after, and you can come back to this video and you can check this. He's going to make some really big moves that will shake up a lot of things. And he's going to have massive support, popular support, but also he's going to face a lot of resistance because he's got the moon, as you can see here, he's got the moon Mars, and it's an opposition to Saturn. So every time this is activated, Saturn is activated as well, right? Saturn is about limitations. It's like the no, you can't do this. No, you can't go, right? So he's going to face some opposition as well, but But yeah, he's going to do well. He's going to do well this year. This is generally going to go well for him, right? And by the way, it's a very interesting chart. This guy, with the Sun-Pluto opposition, his life is going to be marked by lots of big power struggles. And you can see that happen. It started when, actually, right when Pluto came into the first degree of Aquarius, it went into a T-square with his Sun-Pluto opposition, right? And right away, he had that whole drama where he got fired, and then he came back, and then, he took over the whole company, like power struggles, lots of power struggles. This is just the beginning. This guy is going to go through a lot of power struggles with Aquarius, with Pluto staying there in the first degree of Aquarius for 2 to 3, for some time, quite some time, right? For the whole next year and into 25, right? Is this going to go on and on? But anyways, April, May, around the Jupiter-Uranus, around the time of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus, he's going to make some really big moves. What else is going to make some really big moves? The crypto market. Crypto market is primed for a complete breakthrough. Not just because Jupiter-Uranus is meeting here. So you got to know crypto is governed by Uranus and Aquarius, right? Aquarius, the sign, Uranus. Why? Because crypto is par excellence the tool or the means for rebellion, revolution, innovation of our exchange system. It's the most revolutionary thing that has been invented for a very long time, for centuries maybe. In money, it's the most revolutionary thing since the invention of coins, right? You have coins and you have nothing for thousands of years, and then you have Bitcoin, right? You have crypto. So suddenly it goes into the next level, right? And 2024, around the May conjunction, April-May conjunction, it's actually exact 21st of April, and I have this here in the slide, so I made a chart for 21st of April when the conjunction is exact, but you can already, this is going to start to go into aspect a little bit before, and then it's going to go out of aspect in June, right? In June, it's going to start going out of aspect when Jupiter will move into Gemini. And around this time, so I would say towards end of April and then into May, up to the end of May, going into early June at the latest, and then it's going to start to kind of fizzle out. Around that time, sometime around that time, we should see the new all-time high for crypto, right? Crypto is governed by Uranus, and obviously when you're going to have basically this whole meaning of this 7-year cycle of Uranus going through Taurus is that we're going to see a revolution of the economic system, right? Taurus in mundane means the economic system. Uranus goes through Taurus and brings us a revolution of the economic system, right? Okay, so Jupiter conjoining Uranus is going to really accelerate the process, and it's going to really see crypto explode. I'm wagering here to say that the crypto market is going to go beyond even everybody's expectations around that time. Why? Because when you look at the chart, Satoshi, the asteroid Satoshi, it's in a trine. It's not here, it is not shown here, but it's in a perfect trine to this Jupiter-Uranus. Perfect trine to the Jupiter-Uranus. And actually, here's also an altcoin tip if you're into altcoins. The asteroid Cardano, which if you're holding ADA from it was a lot of there was a big fan base around it for the last bull run. Now not so much anymore. A lot of people are saying Cardano is out. I'm also not a huge fan of how they're doing things, but let's not get into that with regards to their kind of academic peer system of checking all of the innovations is a little bit slow. But Cardano, the astrology, just looking by the astrology, Cardano is going to be a very, very good thing to hold in April and May, because this whole cycle, which is going to be about, crypto going to the next level, Cardano is kind of have a central place in this, right? So keep this in mind, but also know I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. This is purely for educational and entertainment purposes. There's no financial advice here whatsoever. Do whatever you have to do and do your own research, and don't base your investment decisions on what I am saying here, right? So let's make this very, very clear. Okay, now let's go and have a look at what's coming up in technological breakthroughs for us. Because as I said, we are going to see a lot of technological breakthroughs this year. Jupiter, Uranus, and this is now where some of the most interesting things are coming up in this video that I'm going to share with you. Jupiter, Uranus, it stands for tech breakthroughs, technological breakthroughs, especially when it's in Taurus. And what's Taurus about? Again, Taurus is Earth and is about solid material exchanges and material energy exchanges and nature. Okay, so we got nature, exchanges, economics, matter, materials, all of these fields and levels, they're going to see breakthroughs. There's going to be technological breakthroughs. Before I go and give you the list, one thing I want to say though, again, it's important to always know not everything, just as I said before, every transit and every principle has a shadow side. Just like Jupiter is not always just beneficial, too much of a good thing can be bad. Just like that, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction can also have bad effects, specifically, and this is a little bit more advanced, specifically because this particular conjunction, it's actually on a star which is known in mundane astrology as a very malefic star, and this star is called Algol. So we got the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction here. It's on the star Algol, Al-Ghul from the Arabic, right? And this Al-Ghul or Algol, it is malefic. It's going to amplify some of the malefic forces. So don't just think that you're going to see an explosion of crypto and of Web3 principles and of kind of decentralized systems. Just as well, we might also see, and this is a prediction that I'm giving, around the time May, June, around this time, around mid-year, be sure to see some breakthroughs and some announcements around CBDCs. CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, specifically designed by those who want more control and more surveillance, who want to use the technology basically that digital assets give us, but instead of using it for decentralizing and empowering, they want to use it for maximizing control over citizens, right? So there will be some new CBDCs rolled out, and they will be very massive and very successful, or at least some really big announcements will be made around that time. Maybe some big technological breakthroughs will be made around that time, and they will be announced, and this will be one step further towards a dystopian state where we will be controlled, and our expenses and our very exchanges and will be controlled as well. What we exchange, what we have access to. But again, let's get into what the breakthroughs are that we can expect and that we can look forward to, some of the positive stuff, right? At the end of the day, it's up to us if we as people and as entrepreneurs and venturers and co-creators, if we allow these technologies to go in the dystopian and dangerous route, or if we go the empowering route. So let's have a look at the breakthroughs that we can expect this year for the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So one field is renewable energy. Renewable energy is going to be huge. Solar is going to be huge. Anything around energy storage, lithium, batteries for grid applications. And I've got some things here on the screen that you can see. New developments in batteries, in energy, in photovoltaics, advanced materials, all of these things, sustainability technologies, all of these things are perfectly fitting the archetypal signature of Jupiter, Uranus in Taurus, right? So make sure if you are invested in stocks or ventures, or if you have any other kind of personal skin in the game, that you look at these type of markets and these trends. Once again, nothing I'm saying here is investment advice. It's just educational and entertainment purposes, right? But this is a field that you can look at with, with a lot of confidence, with a lot of good feelings. And another field is going to be biotech, right? Biotech and health, digital health, biotech, blockchain. I already mentioned blockchain, specifically when you have combinations between blockchain and renewable energy. And there is some really interesting things happening there around using blockchain for understanding, for having greater transparency on grids, on energy grids. Those are applications that perfectly fit the signature Jupiter, Uranus, and Taurus, right? Advanced materials, I already mentioned. We might see some new, completely mind-blowing inventions and innovations in advanced materials that can do things that we couldn't even imagine, maybe even going towards taking stronger steps toward implementable and usable nanotech. That's possible too. A biotech and digital health, we could see, as I've said already before, we could see some really interesting innovations as well. Okay, so what are you going to do with this information? Well, again, as I said before in the beginning, the point of knowing the cycles and the archetypal constellations is for us to align and attune with them and with the time quality. If you have a venture that you want to launch, if you have a project that you want to launch, 2024 with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is an exceptionally good timing. So any venture that you launch around that time, around the May, June, April kind of bracket, specifically end of April when you have the conjunction, that's kind of going to be carried by that force. So think about it. Use this time to go into innovation, to bring out what you have to bring out. Obviously, it matters what your own personal charts is and what your own personal chart says. If you want to look at your personal charts, you can work with me. You can find me on therealdrv.com, and you can see if you have any activations or any positions in your chart which give you as well a special personal boost. But either way, whether you have that or not, this time is a time for innovation and for carrying projects forward. And we have to be specifically also careful and vigilant that what I said earlier on doesn't happen, that the technological innovations and game-changing innovations that will come out in this year in 2024, that they are not overwhelmingly used to control and enhance surveillance of all of us, but rather that they're used for empowering means, so that they're done with the right ethos, which in our age and for our future is going to be an ethos of decentralization and regeneration. So I'll leave you with that, and I look forward to seeing all of the great ventures that we will give rise to and all of the great innovations that will come out this year. Comment below if you're working on something special or interesting that aligns with the things that I said. I'd love to find out about it. I'd love to discuss and share and maybe look into the astrology as well as the technology with you together. And with that, I wish you all the best and a great and amazing Jupiter-Uranus conjunction for you as well in this year and the rest of the year. Stay tuned, follow, subscribe, make sure to share, comment, like, do all the works, and I remain yours, Dr. V.